Dr. 𝐇𝐎𝐏 here to bring you your Edufaith Essentials tip for today. We are talking about back to school, and the latest podcast is all about back to school. The first tip I want to bring to you is understand and review the plans. As we start the school year, it's really important as parents, educators, and leaders to look at the current students' IEPs, 504, English language learner plans, RTI intervention plans, or whatever type of plan the student has in place. This is a great time to take a look at the goals, the information, the accommodations, and determine if there need to be adjustments. Parents, make sure you advocate for your child's IEP, a 504 plan or ELL plan, and make sure that you inform all of your child's teachers that your child has a plan. You want to make sure that you're proactive and not reactive. For my educators and leaders, educators, identify those students in your classrooms. Make sure that you look at those plans, look at the accommodations, and see how you can embed those accommodations in your current teaching practices in your classroom. Whether you're providing that preferential seating or extended time, make sure that you are aware and you are familiar with that child's plan and that you know that they have a plan. And for my leaders, you just want to provide professional development and access for parents and educators. If your educators need training on 504 plans, IEPs, English language learning plans, or any type of plan to support diverse learners, you want to make sure that you provide that professional development. To learn more, listen to the latest episode of the Edufaith Essentials podcast on the Edufaith Essentials YouTube page or on all streaming platforms. Thank you for listening and get essential. Dr. 𝐇𝐎𝐏 here with your essential tip for Tuesday. This is tip 2, based on the Edufaith Essentials podcast, which is now streaming on the Edufaith Essentials YouTube page and on all streaming platforms. Tip 2 is to build strong collaborative relationships. If you know me, I feel that the number one thing that a leader, an educator, or a parent can have with anyone is a relationship. All of my books, I discuss relationships extensively in every book because relationships are the heart, and relationships serve as the core for student success. It serves as the core for trust and communication. On the podcast, I discuss the significance of the relationships, and then I bring in 3 P's that I discuss: partnerships, proactivity, and planned communication. We want to make sure that we have those 3 P's as we build those relationships and ensure student success. For more information, please listen to the latest episode, the Back to School episode of the Edufaith Essentials podcast on the Edufaith Essentials YouTube page or on all streaming platforms. Subscribe, and thank you for listening. Get essential. Dr. 𝐇𝐎𝐏 here with your essential tip for Tuesday. This is from the latest episode of the Back to School episode of the Edufaith Essentials podcast. And the final tip that I provide, because in the podcast, I provide 5 essential tips for back to school for educators, leaders, and students. The essential tip for today is to monitor progress and adjust. This is the 5th and final tip as we look to support our diverse learners going back to school. You want to make sure that you monitor progress and adjust. You want to make sure that you check goal progress periodically. You want to allow yourself to evolve and make changes. As a parent, you're always evolving. You're always looking at ways you can support your child, and you always navigating those outcomes based on what's going on in the scenario. The same thing goes for educators and leaders as well. Once you have a plan of action and those goals are set, you want to come back and look at where you are and how you need to readjust. This is so essential because as we work with students, we want to make sure that we stay current on practices as parents, educators, and leaders, but then we want to adjust and make changes to ensure that that child's needs are met and ensure student success. You might have one plan, but the student's needs may be another. So as a parent, educator, and leader, you want to constantly monitor, adjust, and evolve. Growth is essential, and growth is essential for your child to grow and for students to grow. This is our essential tip for today. To learn more and learn about all 5 of the back to school tips, listen to the latest episode of the Edufaith Essentials podcast on the Edufaith Essentials YouTube page. Subscribe. And then also you can listen to it on all streaming platforms. Share the podcast with others. Share this podcast with parents, educators, and leaders who support diverse learners. As always, thank you for listening and get essential.